Live. Hi, everyone. GM, thank you so much for joining us today. We have a very exciting conversation with Marc Quinn. We'll also have Linnea Chain join us in a little bit. But yeah, so we're all rounded up here to give you a little bit more information about the drop. The drop is called AI Beats the Eye of its creator, and it's got AI Dreams of the Eyes of its creator, and it's dropping this Thursday, December 19th at 3 p.m. GMT. We're going to go through a quick round of introductions, give people a little bit of time to join. So I'm going to start it off with you, Boris.
Hello, it's great to be here. I'm Boris Pevsner. I'm the co-founder and CEO of LiveArt. And for those of you who don't know, LiveArt is the world's #1 art-fi ecosystem, which is basically how we define it. It's the platform that brings the $2 trillion art asset class to the global crypto audiences. So this is what we do, and we'll talk much more about all of the various features and how they apply to the current drop as this session progresses.
Amazing. Thank you, Boris. And Marc, I'll pass it on to you now.
Hi, I'm Marc Quinn. I'm an artist. I live in London. I'm very pleased to be doing this first drop with LiveArt. It's my first NFT, but it's also the beginning of work that I've been making with AI. So it's a nice combination of those two things. I'm really excited and proud to share it with everyone in the audience here.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Marc. And I see a lot of people have joined now. So I just want to encourage everybody to share the stream. We have it posted on all our social media platforms. So please share. We also have special rewards for, at the end, we'll have a brief round of questions. So please share it with your community. Let's get more people here for this great collection. And before we jump into the questions, we are going to, we have Linnea joining here now. Hi there. All right, we'll give them some time. Well, before we get started, I'd like to share a little bit more about LiveArt, and Boris, feel free to also pitch in. So we are the world's #1 art-fi ecosystem, and we are bringing the $2 trillion art asset class to global crypto audiences, which is an amazing mission. And we're here to make art a lot more accessible and access throughout the world. So Boris, would you like to give us a quick rundown on LiveArt for those not so familiar with it?
Yeah, absolutely. We are, doing this. We're fulfilling this mission of bringing the $2 trillion asset class to global crypto audiences in a variety of ways, right? So we're doing tokenization and fractionalization of masterpieces by the world's top artists. Many of you have participated in our fractional offerings of the Superman artwork by Andy Warhol that's currently ongoing. We're also doing this through art-themed collaborations with the top 25 meme coin projects. You know that there is an ongoing collaboration with Pepe that I urge you to check out. And we're also doing this through games and educational offerings about art and art as an asset class, and also art as something to enjoy and treasure. And we've been quite successful at that. We are now the #3 game on Polygon. And that's a game that helps people to appreciate art. And we are one of the top 15 Telegram mini apps. And we also, I think the latest from a few days ago is that we are the top 5 fastest growing app on Base chain. So there is a lot going on. We have a new partner, Linea, that we announced recently, and we expect that similar growth will continue on Linea. We are super excited about that partnership as well. So these are all the different ways in which we are bringing art to global crypto audiences, but our roots are in bringing the global iconic artists to global web audiences. So you know that we are the Web3 launchpad for such artists, and you have seen our iconic NFT in Ordinals collections of Human June, one of the top contemporary artists working today, and other global artists. And that's why launching Marc Quinn's collection today is a huge milestone for us. So we're super excited to offer this work to the global audiences in Web3 and on blockchain. And this is really kind of a nexus of our overall activities in taking this art asset class to crypto audiences, to Web3 audiences everywhere.
Thank you, Boris. And I've seen Susie, you've joined us now from Linea. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I just popped in. I don't have to say anything. Just wanted to say hi in case you needed me.
Thank you so much, Susie. We do have a few questions for you, so we'll let you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we'll kick off with Marc's drop, which is happening in just a few days. AI Dreams of the Eye of its Creator. You can find it on our site, liveart.io/Marc Quinn. And, we really try to bring to life all of the amazing creativity and artistry that Marc brings to the table. So Marc, I'd like to first get started with a few questions. So this new series features an AI-generated human irises reimagined through, your career and particularly the iris paintings that you have done. Could you walk us through that inspiration? What was the process behind it?
Sure, yeah. So basically, I've for 10 years or so now, I've been making these paintings of people's irises. So portrait, you can see one in the background here. It's they're about 2 meters wide. They're oil on canvas, and they're paintings of somebody's eye. You can't tell who it is. You can't tell what gender they are, where they live, if they're rich or poor, famous or not. You can just tell that it is a human being. And so this collection of eyes has grown over the period I've been making them. And then when I started thinking about what I could do in the sort of virtual space and thinking about AI and thinking if I wanted to do something that was an NFT or in the blockchain, I wanted to create it with AI as well. So I talked to some people and I had this idea of feeding in 100 of the images of 100 of the paintings that I made into an AI system and saying, well, look, these are human eyes. Now you've seen these. Can you tell me what you think other human eyes might look like? And so the AI system began to imagine these different shapes and things which to us look quite strange, but also are recognizably based on the eye. And so it's like, in a way, it's the AI system hallucinating. And it also made me think that it's quite interesting. It's in a way like human beings don't know about the world or didn't know about the world at the beginning. And so they imagined all sorts of ideas about the world. And it's kind of like the AI system is trying to imagine what its creator looks like. So it's almost like a kind of mythology that the AI system is creating as to its origins, which as we all know is a classic thing that humans do. They're always trying to work out their origins and where they come from, what our lives mean. And it made me think that perhaps these eyes, these different versions are AI trying to work out its origin as well. And also they're very strange and interesting shapes and surprising forms that have been generated by this, which I think are rather beautiful and arresting.
Yes, they are definitely very beautiful and kind of mesmerizing. And I think it's a great take on AI. So thank you for that. That's awesome. And so another element of the collection alongside these 2 editions, so for clarification, there were 8 editions handpicked from the array, and we are launching the first 2. Alongside with that, we're also bringing on an amazing, incredible artist with a global career. And so, Boris, I'd like to turn it over to you. So how do you see artists like Marc Quinn bringing their work on chain, adding on to the future of the art market and the accessibility of the art asset class?
Sorry, you're asking Boris, yeah.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Boris.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah, but thanks for the question, Lisa. Well, guys, as you know, we're intimately connected with both the art market and the crypto community. Many of the LiveArt team comes out of Christie, Sotheby's, and other top art institutions. So for us, bringing artists of Marc Quinn's caliber to the crypto audiences is sort of, it's the most exciting thing that we do. And we do a lot of things, as I mentioned earlier. And why is that? It's because we believe that blockchain and Web3 are the future of the art market. They're really changing dramatically, fundamentally, and probably irreversibly changing how art is created, how it's traded, how it's marketed, distributed to global audiences through crypto and Web3 channels, and ultimately and eventually how art becomes a globally accessible, investable asset class. So all of that is happening right now. And I think that perhaps the most exciting aspect of that is the creative aspect that Marc just alluded to. There are things that you can do in this medium, in the digital medium, that is kind of tied to the blockchain, that you cannot do with any other media, right? You can be interactive, you can create generative art, you can do technology-infused artworks, AI-driven artworks, like in this case, in the case of this collection, and yet, in spite of all that wizardry, it's all connected to a very human condition, just like this collection is, as Marc just described his artistic journey in producing it. So these works really redefine the boundaries of creativity. They provide this this merger of amazing technology, amazing art, and all of that is made possible by blockchain. So that's really unique. As I said, we do a lot of things at LiveArt, but really the nexus of our activities, the most kind of the heart of it, the soul of it, if you will, is introducing artists who have been working in other media and very, very successfully with amazing careers to Web3 audiences. And this is a great example of precisely that. So super excited about this collection.
Awesome. Thank you, Boris. Yeah, I definitely second that. And I do, want to take just a few seconds to encourage everybody to join us on the LiveArt side. Get ready to mint. We'll send you a few updates leading up to the collection, so you are the first to know and the first to access. So now with that in mind, Marc, let's dive a little deeper into the selection of these editions, and
Sure.
so talk to us about that curation process.
Well, I think what's interesting for me is, in a way, I'm collaborating with the intelligence of the AI. So it's a bit like I was thinking about it in the same way as the process of evolution on Earth, is that life throws up random mutations the whole time. And some of those mutations become successful and turn into a development for the life form, and some of them just die off and are nothing. And so to make these 8 pictures, I made 2,000 different pictures, but many of them were boring or uninteresting or not really relevant. And so it was my choice of which ones I thought were interesting, which brought these ones into being from this kind of mass of images that have been created. Because the AI, when it creates an image, does not have a qualitative filter. It just produces and produces and produces. And then it needs a curator or an artistic impulse to decide that this is interesting and this isn't. And so from those, then we made these NFTs on the blockchain. I think what's really interesting for me is because the whole thing has happened within the digital frame, and to be able to make it, it wouldn't seem completely the right thing to do for it to be born onto blockchain and for its authenticity to be part of, and its history, like the DNA in a person, carries the history of them and their life on Earth and all their relations back to the beginning of time. The blockchain carries the history of each of these images. Each unique one that someone will buy will have an image, the exchange, where it's gone. And in 100 years, that blockchain will have the whole history of that image there. And so I think that it kind of, all these ideas sort of come together in making these with AI, in making them on blockchain. And I think that's what's really exciting. And then also what's exciting is that you can also have a physical manifestation of it, because we're doing prints as well, I think, which are available, aren't they? And
That's
so you have your digital one, but then you can also have, you know, your printout of one as well. So then you're playing, then it makes you think about that whole difference between a physical object and an object that exists in the virtual space. And the way, what better way to think about that than having those things, and to be able to look between the two and to be able to think about what those two things evoke in you and how they evoke different feelings and different ideas. And to have the same image, but in a different manifestation is really quite interesting as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing, and I love the physical aspect of it as well. And I guess while we are in the AI thread, we're also introducing a very exciting feature, which is LiveArt's first AI trading agent. So I'm going to turn it briefly to you, Boris, to share more information about how this works, how it fits in LiveArt's broader vision into integrating AI.
Absolutely. You know, our AI journey in the context of art started more than 3 years ago. It almost goes back to the foundation of the company. Back just when we started, we thought that, well, if we're going to bring this new to the crypto audiences asset class, which is art, to a completely new audience, to millions of people who have not interacted with art in this format before, the first thing that we need to do is we need to convey to them not just the aesthetics of this new thing, new to them, but also its economic value. And so what we did is we aggregated a unique data set of over 10 million past sales across 450,000 artists, and we used AI and machine learning to provide real-time information on the up-to-the-minute prices of anything that has ever sold publicly at auction, for every artist, for every price movement, for the entire art market, as well as the trading signals for those who are interested in investing in art, to really understand, again, in real time, what interesting opportunities are out there for buying and selling art. So we did that, and that product has become the #1 source of art market data in the world, and it's all based on AI and machine learning. You can access it very easily on liveart.io/analytics. It's one of our kind of core foundational products. So what we have done now is that we said, well, the kind of the natural next step, the natural extension of this, is to create an AI agent, right? And make sure that it lives on blockchain, that it is personalized, that anybody who is interested in art can find out more about the artists that they like, the artwork that they're interested in, anywhere in the world in real time, get recommendations about what art to see, what art to buy, market trends, both from the art appreciation perspective, so what museum shows to go to, for instance, and from the investment perspective, so which artists and artworks appear to be doing well as you kind of are going through your art journey as a collector or as an investor or as just an art curious person, which is the majority of us. So that's what this AI agent is for. And so what we're doing now is that each NFT in this collection unlocks this personalized AI trading agent. Once we introduce it, we're going to announce it separately. But it's essentially token-gated feature, token-gated community. And all of the holders of the major collections that we have published, starting with this collection by Marc Quinn, are going to get personalized access to this new AI agent. It will keep acquiring new capabilities as we introduce it, first informational, then actually interactive and trading and so on. So it will be an evolving product in its own right. But really, by participating in this collection and by becoming a holder of one of our primary NFTs and ordinals, you will get access to that agent. We think it's very exciting. It's not just trendy. Everybody knows that AI agents are trendy, but for us, it's been a journey from the very beginning of the company, really from the foundation. It's a logical extension of what we have already done and where we are a market leader. Right? We are the #1 source of art market data in the world.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Boris. And now this part is very exciting. We'll get to know a little bit more about you, Marc, and your career. So I'd love to get started with, your career includes groundbreaking works like Self. So how does this collect? Can you tell us a little bit more about that, the early start of your career, but also how this collection continues your tradition of constantly pushing boundaries with art?
Yeah, I can't hear you, Louisa, but now. But basically, yeah, I started making work a long time ago in the 90s. The first famous work I made was my head made out of my own blood. So I went to the doctors every month and a half for a year and a half and took a pint of blood out each time until I'd taken all the blood in my body out. And then I made a mold of my head and poured the blood into that, and it's displayed in a frozen, in a freezer. So it's sort of, the sculpture only exists as long as it's plugged in. If you unplug it, it turns to a pool of blood. You can see all these on my Instagram at Marc Quinn Art. But that's the first piece. So I was really interested in identity from the beginning, and in a way, the DNA in the sculpture you could liken to blockchain, you could liken to the AI, to these. In a way, it's quite interesting to look at something which is, the technology mirrors biology in some way. I think it's quite interesting. And then I made, many different works. I made works about people with disabilities. I made works about the way that when people become incredibly famous, their image detaches from themselves and becomes has a life of its own. Like in the Brooklyn Museum right now, there's a solid gold sculpture of Kate Moss that I made in 2008, which is made of 50 kgs of gold. And it's this image of an impossible person, because obviously people like models, the images that you see of photographs and films and things are not what the real person is actually like. So there's these two lives, the life of the image and the life of the real person. So I was interested in how we create images, and then images create us, because we forget that we created them. Then I made lots of works about nature, about flowers, many paintings about flowers, sculptures about flowers. I just did a show at Kew Gardens. I got a show opening at the Brooklyn Botanical Garden in March next year. And just like lots of different areas, really, I guess, about what it is to be a person alive in the world. And so part of that is exploring new things. And this area that we're working with now, AI and blockchain things, is obviously, to me, one of the new areas which life and art will be exploring.
That's amazing. Yeah, I actually remember a few years ago, I saw Self at the Met Breuer at an exhibition.
Oh yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah, that was awesome. So now it's like, now I met Marc Quinn. That's like amazing.
And we're both still alive. That's the amazing thing. The sculpture, in fact, the sculpture I make one every 5 years, so there's now 7 of them.
Wow, that's incredible.
All in museums around the world.
Yeah, I thought it was like the coolest thing ever when I saw it for the first time in person. All right, and then, well, this is your first venture into NFT. So, what are you most excited about?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's exciting is to have created works with AI and virtually, and then for them to exist as works that's authenticity is held virtually. They become virtual objects in a way. So the whole thing seems to fit perfectly in a kind of circle. And also to meet, to reach out with these with these works to a whole different audience, perhaps an audience that perhaps doesn't traditionally come to the art world, and to communicate and give kind of pleasure and thought to these people too.
Awesome. We love it. Uh, Now, last but not least, I guess, identity is a huge theme in your work. So could you talk about how this project is kind of contributing to that continuous study of identity?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the eyes came about from, I think the first idea I had was that when a while ago they had this thing at the airport where they could scan your eye like a fingerprint to go through. They don't really have it anymore, but it was iris recognition software at airports in the UK, and I kind of made me think how, that to make something that's kind of like a human DNA, not DNA, a human sort of QR code, which is your eye in a way. It's a unique pattern which can only lead to one place, and that place is the person whose eye it is. And then the whole idea of identity, I think, is more and more important in a world where we have now more and more to spend our time deciding what's real and what's not real. We're bombarded with images on our phone. We live in a virtual world, and quite often we're not sure if what we see is real or simulated or AI or fake. It's kind of, so this whole world of quest for authenticity. I think it's really interesting that in blockchain you have this complete authenticity given to the artwork, and that each NFT that's sold is completely unique and authentic and linked to the time and place it was minted. And so you kind of allude to that. And I think it's also about AI in itself looking for its identity, and this idea that it's dreaming up what it's hallucinating. I think that's a technical term in AI. When something doesn't have enough information, the AI then invents something. And to me, as an artist, that area where the AI is inventing is a very interesting area.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely see that. And now, Boris, how do you think this collaboration? What do you think it means for blockchain in the future of the art asset class?
I think that blockchain is still fairly young. I know there's a lot of excitement around what's going on right now in the crypto market, but it's still fairly young. And so, especially in the beginning of every journey, of every technology, of every cultural phenomenon, which both art and blockchain and Web3 clearly are, there is this focus on milestones. Especially in retrospect, we're going to go back and look at what happened in the early days of Web3, and we'll see some milestones. So, our mission is to bring this art social phenomenon that we love to blockchain. This is what we do, right? To introduce us to the crypto audiences, be that collectors, traders, investors, or just people who are art curious. But as art is moving to blockchain, it will hit certain milestones. So in my opinion, this is one such milestone. So with this collection, we're really moving the ball forward. This is the first AI project by a major artist who has been working very, very successfully in the traditional media, entering blockchain with his art. So it's produced with the help of AI, which is amazing in its own right. Plus, there will also be this AI agent running around that is going to be attached to this collection. So those two things together make it a milestone. So it's sort of a breakthrough. And I think that going back as the history of art on blockchain is written, this will be recognized as such, as a milestone, as a first.
Completely agree with that. Thank you, Boris. That's awesome. And I think for now, it's a great transition into coming back. Now we have all this context I'd love to come back to the works. So we have 2 pieces of AI Dreams of the Eye of its creator, both available both as an NFT as well as a print. The print goes for $300 and the NFT is $59. I think it's an amazing opportunity to add works by a major artist to your collection. And if you haven't collected art before, it's also a great way to get started. I'm going to go with some quick recap points. So again, Thursday, December 19th, 3 p.m. GMT, the drop will be live. You can access it at liveart.io/Marc Quinn. And now, with that in mind, some closing remarks. Boris, I'm going to turn it to you so we can end with Marc.
Well, we are extremely excited about this, right? We're excited about the art. We're excited about collaborating with Marc, and we're excited about collaborating with Linea. And we're excited about setting this milestone that I just mentioned, something that we'll all look back at and be proud of.
Thank you, Boris. And quickly, just before passing to you, Marc, I want to say just a hello to Susie and Linea. We're so excited to partner with you as our chain partner for this collection. We love what you're doing, and your support for projects like LiveArt is incredible.
Thank you. And Marc, I was like really interested, and I love hearing about how AI is like thinking about its creator. Whoa. That like makes me think really deeply. Like my mind went into a deep rabbit hole, but I think that's like really important, right? To any like being that is potentially like like I work with so many projects that are creating like sentient AI beings that like exist and evolve on their own. So like it's very interesting to think of us as their creators, and I don't know. I just like that's all I have to say.
Yeah, it's almost like the kind of origins of mythology, where seeing evolve in a new way with a whole different species.
It's so wild.
I was actually curious as you were describing it as well, as you were interacting with this AI, right? It was producing things.
Yeah.
Some of them you liked, some of them you didn't like. Did you feel like over time of doing that, something changed? It learned to make more things that you like?
I'm not sure. I think it just wasn't really thinking in that way. I think it was. I mean, what's quite interesting, I think, is this whole thing of like when you look. I got an image of one being made, which I'll just show you, and it looks like a picture from space of a telescope, on Hubble, sort of creating. It's like those deep space photographs. And it's this thing sort of creating itself. So there's these kind of beautiful, kind of almost quite profound things happening before your very eyes, and ending up with things that are extremely unusual that I don't think a human being would have thought of, because they have no particular function.
Point of reference.
Yeah, point of reference. So it's kind of really interesting in that way. So, and then of course I'm going to make some paintings out of some of them, because I think then they sit very nicely with the paintings of real people's eyes. So for me, it's opened a whole new area of making art as well. So these will be very important, because these NFTs and prints will be the first manifestation of a new body of work that will also exist as paintings.
Absolutely, absolutely amazing. And now we'll go to you, Marc, for your closing remarks.
Yeah, I mean, as I was just saying, it's just exciting to have come, when Boris and LiveArt approached me about this, and then to have this idea, and then to find a way to do it which actually isn't a reproduction of something I've done before, as many kind of prints or NFTs are, but is an original work of art that was born in the virtual world. And these are the first, the people who buy these have the opportunity to buy the first manifestations of this idea. And then eventually this idea not only will it exist like this, but there may be paintings and other things that people will look back and go, what was the first thing? And the first thing are these 2 images and these 2 NFTs. So you're at the very beginning of a world of the AI, and you're also the very beginning of a whole new body of work for me as well.
It's almost like you're exploring religion for like the first time humans started thinking about religion. Like the way that AI like showed the pictures of like that resemble like a deep space universe.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're like, well, what's going to happen in 10 years when AI is 10 times more advanced? What are the
Yeah.
pictures going to look like then? Like we're seeing the caveman drawings of
Exactly.
the AI's
We're
perspective.
looking
Wild.
we're looking into AI's cave art.
Yeah.
It's kind
That's
of
so
amazing.
wild.
And I can see how this is creating excitement in the community as well. Just looking at the comments, I don't know if you guys can see them scrolling
Yeah.
on the right of the screen, right? So now the question from Crocodile Rider is whether, in addition to collaborating with AI, this could also be a collaboration with the community, and perhaps the artwork could evolve with AI and
Yeah.
with the contribution from the community, perhaps making an input into the AI.
Exactly. You could have another whole level to it, where we create things with the community and they evolve and change with the input of the community. So you're making a dynamic system that could kind of continue to evolve and produce things.
Yeah. And personally, this is what I'm most excited about, because this is a new medium. So something like this, community collaborations and community AI artist collaborations are only available in this medium. You can not do it with a paintbrush, this medium, and this just creates enormous creative opportunities for the future. Super exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
And oh, go ahead, Susie.
Sorry, this is like so fascinating. I also really appreciate, Mark, that you're using AI in art, because I feel like there's right now we have all these AI tools that then kind of like people are like, well, I don't need to hire a designer now, or I don't need to hire artists. Like I could just use AI to do that for free for my business or whatever instead. But I'd rather just have AI like vacuum my house and do my dishes, you know. But like in this case, like you're using it in a way that almost like humans can't. So like it serves like a very specific function in art without taking away from artists.
Yeah, I
Which is
think
really
that
amazing.
it's not an anti-art thing. It's
Yeah.
just a new way. It's a new tool from which you can make. I mean, it's a bit like photography, perhaps, at the beginning of the 20th century, when people would be like, "Oh, with a photograph, no one needs to paint anymore. What's this? It's killing painting."
Yeah.
It's just another way of looking at something.
Yeah, you're right.
Awesome. And another really good question we have here in the comments is, Mark, how do you see NFTs transforming the way art is created, collected, and experienced? Do you think this medium enhances accessibility for art?
Yeah, I think it does to a much wider audience, and I think what I was trying to say earlier is that if you're part of a wider audience, you're buying these artworks that are at quite a reasonable cost. You're actually acquiring an original work that is conceivably of this body of work the most important, because it's the first. So it's not like these are reproductions of something that came before in the real world and was just reproduced in the world of the NFT and the blockchain. These, as Boris said, only exist there and can only exist there. I can then make a reproduction in the real world, but you could argue that the original work, and I would argue that as well, is the one that we have here, that we're selling for an incredibly good value price when you consider that someone's already bought one of the physical art paintings for $1 million in an auction. So it's like you're getting an incredible, it's giving a really wide audience a chance to access an original work of art, not a reproduction.
And we'll love this audience. You know, we've had, and I'm sure with this collection it will be the same. This audience is quite different from the art audience that buys physical paintings. This audience is much more passionate. It's much more open. It's open to sharing, and I'm sure with this collection we'll see the same things that we've seen with previous collections by the world's top artists. It's a very different audience, and I really truly believe it's the future of the art world. In the art world, we always talk about bringing in young collectors, and then when we bring in young collectors in the traditional art world, they basically grow up to behave just like the more established collectors, the old ones, exactly.
No,
Whereas this is a completely new.
Isn't it? It's true democracy in art, in the way you can communicate and interact with your collectors and with the art world. It's a new thing.
It's a new thing. It's global. So suddenly, it's like people all over the world.
And you don't.
On all
and
continents.
also, the fact that, sorry to interrupt you, but the fact that it's virtual and it exists there means that you don't have to ship it around the world in a box. There's none of this kind of stuff. You immediately have it and it's yours. And the one that you have is as good as the one as anyone else has. It's a lovely democracy into it. And yet, again, as we said, these are the original works. They're not reproductions of it.
And it's also unique, right? Because usually when you do a paper edition, all of the pieces are more or less the same. Whereas this one, everyone is unique. So it's an edition, and yet every piece.
It's an edition of unique pieces.
Edition of unique ones, exactly.
So it's exciting.
Amazing. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up now. We're at time. Just wanted to say thank you to everybody who joined. Almost 7,000 people we have here live, so that's amazing. Super excited for the drop. Remember, it's Thursday, December 19th, 3 p.m. GMT. We have 2 amazing editions, the first 2 of the series. I encourage you to collect both. If you have an existing collection, this is a great new piece to add. And if you haven't started your journey in art collecting already, this is an amazing way to start. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Boris, Mark, Susie.
Thank you. Very exciting.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye.